And Johnny, let's move right on into our next topic. Before we do, make sure to follow us on Twitter. I'm at Ricky Widmer. You're at War Machine 9085.
Yeah.
Also, give your Instagram out too.
Oh, fuck. What was that again?
Most valuable
Thor _ Odinson 90.
Thor _ Odinson 90.
Yes.
So we got Ricky Widmer on Twitter, at War Machine 9085 on Twitter is Johnny. And then Johnny's Instagram is Thor _ Odinson
90.
And then Most Valuable Podcast on Twitter and Instagram is Most Valuable Pod. But Johnny, we are getting into some Star Wars news. Haven't got to talk about some Star Wars since that Episode 9 trailer came out. I think that was San Diego Comic-Con.
I think so.
That came out. And that's the last thing we talked about with Star Wars.
Mandalorian.
That was thrown in there.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
That was a dual package thing.
That's right.
But now we got some news that our beloved hat-wearing, suit coat-wearing, jean-riding Kevin Feige. Well, it's for Ric Flair, it's limousine-riding. So, like, I had to try to get it to fit.
I don't know the reference. So,
yeah, it was. I'm
falling
going
on deaf ears here.
I'm going Ric Flair reference. Kevin Feige is going to produce a Star Wars movie. So that means he's not directing it. He'll get someone else to do that, probably Jon Favreau. But
Taika Waititi
or
could do it.
Or Taika Waititi.
Yeah, I messed up on that one.
But he's going to produce a Star Wars film. He's going to basically be coming up with the story for this film. So what I wanted to kind of ask is, what do we want? What do we need from this Star Wars film for Kevin Feige? Because just to lay the groundwork, first off,
to stay away from the Skywalkers.
I totally did not know how much of a Star Wars fan Kevin Feige is. Or apparently, like in an interview, he said that there was, after Return of the Jedi came out, there was a Star Wars toy line, and it was like the last toy line they came out with for many years before the prequels that were our generation. That he bought all those, and it was like, he's like, I stayed into Star Wars a little bit longer than everybody else. Where he got those toys and was like, hey guys, I got where is everybody? I thought we liked Star Wars. Why are we not over here? And he's like, I liked it a little bit too long in some cases. But also on top of this, so we've got Kevin Feige producing a movie. We've got Benioff and Weiss, the directors from Game of Thrones. They're going to have their own Star Wars trilogy.
Oh, wow.
And then we have Rian Johnson, who's going to have his own Star Wars trilogy. And then on top of that, I don't know if one of these fits into this. One of them, or a different movie, we're supposed to be getting a, Jedi Fallen Order kind of spin-off. Or no, Knights of the Old Republic. That's what I'm thinking. Knights of the Old Republic movie. So is that going to be one of these? Is that going to be one of the trilogies? There's a ton of plans out there. So with that being said, Johnny, I'll let you start. You kind of already did. What do you want and what do you need to see from a Kevin Feige produced Star Wars movie? Is it just one or is it a trilogy?
This is not what I want. This is what we need, is to stay away from the Skywalkers.
Yeah, just be done with it.
After 9,
we're done.
Just be done with the Skywalkers for a long time. Because this has been, 9 movies now.
Yeah.
Where we dealt with this. And I don't mean that in a negative way. I'm just saying, we've been just on this saga about this family.
There's other people in the galaxy.
There is a whole universe out there, and we are focusing on this straw.
Yeah, basically.
So it's like that's why I'm glad The Mandalorian is coming out. That's why I'm glad we had the Solo
Rogue
as one of them, but we had Rogue One. Thank you. I couldn't think of the name of it. So I'm glad we have so many other things. Like you said, Knights of the Old Republic. We could go on the start of the Sith, and I don't know if that's part of the Old Republic or not. But I know there's a lot of, I never read them, and I'll be honest about that. But I know there are a ton of books out there that were written by George Lucas that you can go off of.
Yeah, and I mean,
for just source material.
Here's the thing that
and then Hollywood it up, because we know you love to do that.
Because here's first off the thing, like there's a couple stories out here, where one of which I'm going to bring up right away. It's called Traitor. And this was a Star Wars novel from the 90s, I remember it. And just to give you guys a little clue, because I remember seeing it on shelves as a young kid. I never read it because it was at that time where it's like I was young enough to where it's like those big Star Wars novels just aren't for me. Yeah, it's a little intimidating as a young kid. But just to give you a backstory of it, in the 90s, the Star Wars expanded universe got really moralistic and stuffy, and Traitor was a total refutation of that approach. It's the darkest Star Wars story ever written, but it serves a positive agenda in the end, one that asserts that maybe the Force isn't black and white, and the Jedi don't need to stand around wondering about the moral implications of every little thing they do. It was a really great change of storytelling, and it's nice that it appears The Last Jedi might have taken a similar patch. This article was written around that time. Yeah, it was written back in May. But I feel like that's one thing I want to see from a Star Wars movie. I don't know if it's going to be Kevin Feige's movie. Maybe it's more Bettinoff and Weiss, the Game of Thrones guys. Mm-hmm. I want to see a darker Star Wars movie. Like, give me, if you're Disney, you're going to give me Deadpool that's rated R. We've already seen DC go into the side of more, especially with Titans, that more gritty style. Joker, which just came out, rated R. So why not take a stab at one of your Star Wars films? Just one. And maybe this is where it could be like a Kevin Feige and not a Bettinoff and Weiss, because theirs is going to be a trilogy. As of right now, Feige's is just a one movie thing that he's going to produce. Why not give us one darker Star Wars story? Give us, and by us I mean the adults, a Star Wars story that's catered for us. Just us, not the kids.
What if you get a one shot about Maul?
Oh God, that would be fucking
just
awesome.
name it Maul.
Mm-hmm. Because they already teased him back into it with Solo.
Yeah.
But is that another thing of, do they have plans for a Solo 2 movie to continue that story where he's going to be the main villain?
Maybe. That could be it too.
Could you do that and a Maul movie at the same time?
The question is he going to be the main villain though?
I mean, he's the guy pulling the strings.
Is he though?
He is. Well, I mean, there's the Emperor that's pulling the strings. Palpatine's pulling the strings. But he's the one that we see at the end of the movie. That's pretty much setting up.
But he's taking orders from someone else.
Yeah, but at the same time too,
I'm just saying.
I don't know if there's a history between him and.
But it would
Solo.
just be cool to see like a rated R Maul movie.
Exactly.
Just as an example, it could be any friggin' Sith movie,
or just Star Wars in general.
Yeah,
like
show how actually dangerous this universe is.
Well, the thing I always loved, and Qui-Gon Jinn was kind of the closest we got to it, of give me more gray Force users.
Yeah, great.
Like the gray side of the Force.
The gray Jedi, as they call them. Because they're not a light side or dark side. It is just balance in the universe.
Like we saw it with Qui-Gon. We kind of saw it tested a little bit with Anakin, where why does everything have to be so black and white? But also with Anakin, the big part of the waiting around part, where Anakin would come in and be like, hey, action needs to be taken. And what would Yoda say? No, we wait, we sit here. And Anakin would be like, well, what? If we don't do something, this is going to happen. Why are we just sitting on our hands? And then Yoda and Mace Windu would be like, no, that's not how we do things, brah. You just got to sit there and know your role, brah. I would love to have more of these movies that deal with kind of that gray side of the Force, because in life, things aren't black and white.
Thank you.
Like nothing is black and white. And the Force is not different, where these kind of decisions that need to be made, give me one where it's like, you test that and you kind of go out there and give me something different than what we've seen. I don't want the same, like you say, away from the Skywalkers. Don't just make it to where it's like, well, this ain't the Skywalkers. This is this family, and now we're following this family.
Don't make us follow another family. That's the other thing. I should
give me individual stories.
Yeah, exactly. Give me individuals. Give me a big group of like I said, the Old Republic or the Knights of the Old Republic.
Yeah,
should be like the original. I think that's the story of the original Jedi Order, isn't it?
I think so.
Give me that. Give me the start of the original Sith. Give me before all that. I forgot what the storyline for that was, but I think there was one out there for that.
Yeah, the story of Knights of the Old Republic takes place about 4,000 years before the rise of the Galactic Empire. Dark Malak, a former Jedi Dark Lord of the Sith, and Darth Raven's former apprentice, has unleashed a Sith armada against the Republic. Malak's aggression has left the Jedi scattered and vulnerable. Many Jedi Knights have fallen in battle, and others have sworn allegiance to Malak. And I find it funny that he brings up Darth Revan, I think it is. I always see it as Ravan, but it's Revan. That's another story that I stumbled upon that I'm like, that'd be fucking awesome. Because just to read a little snippet here, there's a storyline that's called The Fall and Rise of, I'm going to say Raven or Revan. I don't know what I'm going to fucking say. Let's say Raven just for today, and I'm probably saying that wrong. Thousands of years before the movies, Raven was a Jedi who led the Republic military against invading Mandalorians, only to turn to the dark side and wage his own war on the Republic, before turning away from the dark side and defeating his own armies. That's a very short, very incomplete version. The story of Raven is thoroughly fascinating and ends up lasting hundreds of years across 2 video games, Knights of the Old Republic, and a pile of books in the comics. But that's another thing too, where I see this and I go, can that be a solo movie, or does that need to be a trilogy?
The amount you were describing might need to be a trilogy.
That's what I'm thinking as well. And with Feige, I don't even think we answered this, and I'll ask you, do you think Kevin Feige is just going to be a one and doneer? To where it's like, well, did a Star Wars movie, okay, now I'm going to go over here as I'm needed. Or could this be, hey, we don't want to tell people you're doing a trilogy, but we're going to do a Kevin Feige trilogy? Or is it the start of a Marvel Cinematic Universe here in Star Wars, where the Kevin Feige movies are considered the SWU, the Star Wars Universe, or Star Wars Cinematic, the SWCU, Star Wars Cinematic Universe, or the SWFU, Star Wars Feige Universe? And I know the FU is kind of funny. But is that where this is going to go? Nobody knows. It's kind of like Iron Man.
I think it'd be the CU, if anything.
Well, I mean, would that incorporate like Rise of the Skywalker in that too?
I think it would, because I mean, it's still part of the Star Wars universe, the history, because I mean, I'm on Wikipedia right now, and it's like you have prehistory, Old Republic, you have fall of the Old Republic, the Republic era,
the era.
Still going. Fall of the Republic again, pre-Clone Wars. Then you have the Clone Wars. We all saw all this stuff already. I mean, hell, you could play off some of that stuff that we didn't actually see. We didn't see the Clone Wars. We saw bits and pieces of the Clone Wars.
Well, and that's what I was.
That's still like we can play off of stuff in that area.
And that's what I was going to ask you next. Is you said stay away from the Skywalkers?
Yes.
Would you be okay then with his film being kind of like a Rogue One in a way, where it's like, hey,
sure,
this was going on while we were watching these movies, but it was either going on between these 2 movies or in the background of these 2 movies.
If you make a mention of them,
because
we already make a cameo of them,
because we already have the Clone Wars TV, like we have the
series.
TV
yeah,
series.
I got that.
Like, would that be kind of would a Clone Wars movie then kind of step on the toes of that?
You know what? Maybe a little bit.
I believe the TV series is canon. I believe
it is.
so.
But here's the other part: is like it could still be a different part of the Clone Wars that they didn't touch in. And I'll be honest, I didn't watch that one.
Yeah, I watched some of it, and then it was just one of those things where streaming service, you drop out of it.
Yeah.
And then you watch something else. You're like, oh, I'll get back to that, and you never do. Like I noticed Big Mouth season 3 came out recently.
Yeah, I didn't watch that one yet.
Well, I went to watch it, and I was like, oh, shit, I never finished season 2. So I got to watch the last 2 episodes of season 2 before I can jump into season 3. So it's exactly like that. So you're fine with Kevin Feige's movie being like a Rogue One?
Yeah, and hell, you know what? If you make like, you mention the name, you have a brief cameo with them, that's not going to bother me either. Mm-hmm. It's more the idea of like, hey, let's just not make this based around them. Let's not make this include them a ton. Just, yeah, they're still part of the universe. Mm-hmm. But it's not like they are the focus anymore. This is just a saga of a family that, hey, most of them were Force users. That's great. They've probably been in it longer than we know about. Because we don't know who or where Anakin's dad is. So,
yeah, I mean, yeah, because we never referenced Anakin's dad. It was just him and his mom.
Exactly. We don't know who his dad was. No, there was no mention made of who. And I didn't read the books. Maybe there is in those, but we don't know about it here.
So here's an interesting thing that doesn't go into what well, I'll ask you this. Should Kevin Feige, because he's going to be producing, I'm assuming now with producing, he's going to lead casting as well.
Yeah.
First, this is a dual part question. The first part, which is a shorter part. If you're Kevin Feige, do you look outside the MCU, or if there's an MCU actor that you think would be perfect for your role, do you bring someone over from the MCU into Star Wars? Or do you go, hey, you know what, we're going to try to find our new crop of actors for this. We have our MCU guys and girls. Let's go find our Star Wars
That's
ones.
a very, I guess, vague question to ask because, I mean, it all depends on your storyline.
Yeah.
What are you picking? What characters do you have? Marvel has no problem, and I've no problem with them doing it. Hey, we have a few that fit the role from our Marvel pocket. Let's pull them over. They do that with the Disney movies themselves. Look at the Jungle Book. Just look at a few of the Disney movies. Like, they pull actors over and just, hey, do this voice for us, please.
Part 2 was I'm going to throw a couple at
you.
And this is an article from Cinema Blend. They have 10 MCU actors Kevin Feige needs to bring to a galaxy far, far away. Johnny, I'm going to throw some of them, not all 10 of them. Because, like, the first one is Annette Bening, who was the Supreme Intelligence, and Dr. Wendy Lawson in Captain Marvel. Ones like that, I'm just going to exclude and not throw it out there.
You're talking about bigger names.
Yeah. But the first one is not a bigger name, but I'm going to throw it your way. Winston Duke. M'Baku from Black Panther.
Sure.
Chris Evans.
Sure. If he wants to.
Lawrence Fishburne is another one they mentioned. I don't know if he's one. They've got Denis Gurria? Dora Milaje. What's her name? Okoye.
Yeah,
they have her.
Sure.
They've got Daniel Kaluuya, which was... what was his name in Black Panther? He was in Get Out. He was the guy with the rhinos.
Yeah.
What's his name?
You know what? Honestly.
Brie Larson. Is Brie Larson one where, because she's still in it, and she's a big name, do you bring in someone like Brie Larson where it's like, you know what, we don't need this person being a flagship to both?
That one's like the iffy because her franchise is still going and her franchise is up and coming. But yeah, go ahead if you don't think it's gonna like step on toes with her. It doesn't really matter because either way, Disney's making the money off of this. So if like as long you're not gonna they're not gonna make their own films compete.
Yeah,
you're gonna have her and she's gonna probably do it. So
yeah,
why not? I say. Honestly, most of these names you say, I'm probably going to just say yes because it all comes down to what's their role, like what characters are using, what's the role, can they play it?
Will
they fit?
Here's the one thing that I
bring back
that
Idris
I
Elba.
kind of
He does
think
a great
of.
job. Make him a villain again.
See, and that's the thing.
He's got that fucking voice, man.
Guys like Idris Elba, guys like Chris Evans, Robert Downey Jr. is probably the one where it's like, just let him be RDJ for a little bit.
Evans might be a hard one too, because everyone's gonna say this Captain America.
Evans has to want to do it too.
Exactly.
Like
Same with RDJ.
Star Wars is not a franchise that anybody can just jump into.
Then you'd have to say Hemsworth would be one that's like he doesn't want to do anything else right now. He wants to just.
Then I would say
you call me back for Thor.
Yeah,
but that's it.
That's why
we're
for
gonna
me,
throw
like
Thor into the Star Wars universe.
With actually, did you hear the thing that people are talking about on Twitter?
Throw it out
how
there.
we're getting very close to the Patton Oswalt filibuster, where he's like, Thanos has the reality gem, and that can be our bridge from the Star Wars universe to the X-Men. Because in that filibuster, he had Marvel, he had X-Men, he had Star Wars, all in this one movie. What does Disney now own? Marvel, X-Men, and Star Wars. Thanos had the reality gem. We already know that we can jump time with Avengers Endgame.
Oh, there's one. I found it. I have to find it on my phone again, but it's like they showed the whole Galactic Senate, and if you look in the background, and it could, again, this could be doctored, but I mean, it could just be two aliens that look like it.
E.T.
So, no,
there are E.T. aliens there too.
Can I finish talking?
Yeah, you can.
Thanks.
I thought that's where you're
no, that's not what I was going for.
Okay.
No, it shows like in the background one that looks like Thor and Odin.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, that could just be someone took it from the Dark World and doctored it into like very small. But still, it looked like it fit, honestly, because I saw the picture like all blown up and the whole thing together, and then like this little zoom in is like, okay, for one, that's Thor and Odin from the Dark World, but that's cool.
No, I thought you were talking about because there are
I saw the
ET
ETs,
aliens in there. I'm trying to look up a transcript of the actual filibuster. Here it is. So, Article 7, Section 3 allows the citizens filibuster. As many of you have noted that the use of the internet, it has been announced that Disney has acquired the rights to the Star Wars franchise, and in the summer of 2015, we will see the release of Star Wars Episode 7. Herewith is my proposal for the plot of that movie. I'll begin with the standard title sequence and John Williams fanfare, followed by a scroll to be written. I would like to mention that Brian De Palma wrote the original opening scroll. So really he's got opening scroll. We now close to the mouth of the Sarlacc's pit after a beat and gloved Mandalorian armor gauntlet of Boba Fett grabs onto the outside of the Sarlacc pit. Where's the part I'm looking for? Right here. Now that Thanos, as you know, owns the Infinity Gauntlet, which has the Time Gem, Mind Gem, Power Gem, blah, blah, blah. We all know this. If he holds the Reality Gem, that means we can jump to different realities. This is our link from the Marvel Universe to the Star Wars universe. We then cut to Earth. Tony realizes. And obviously it goes on. I'm not going to read the entire 8-minute filibuster. But there are people online that's like, hey, Kevin Feige, make this movie. Last thing I want to throw your way. Because with the actor thing, I didn't give my thought. Chris Evans would be a perfect one because he's no longer in the MCU. Brie Larson, I would just keep MCU. But there's a part of me that's just like, I want to see new talent. Don't bring MCU people over.
Don't
unless they really fit a role. And I'm not saying you are. I'm just saying what I'm thinking is I
just want to iterate for them that I'm not saying, oh yeah, just bring over your MCU. I'm saying
if they
fit the part, bring them over. If they don't, bring in some new talent. That's fine too.
And I'm kind of leaning more towards that new talent. Last thing I will ask you about this. The odds that the reason they brought Kevin Feige to do this movie is because of his work with Marvel, and this movie ends up being the Patton Oswalt filibuster movie. Is this a crossover movie between Marvel and Star Wars?
That'd be awesome, but I don't know. I don't remember how long his filibuster is.
It's about 8 minutes long.
Oh, that's it?
Yeah.
But as a movie-wise, could it just be one movie, or does it seem like it needs to be multiple movies?
Could be one. It could be one, I think, maybe two. I think.
That'd be great. Make the filibuster. That'd be hilarious.
Just, hey, we got the property. Kevin Feige knows the Marvel side. He's a Star Wars fan. Fuck it. Let's do it. I don't think it happens. I think it's 0.1 or 0.01. But there's a part of me that's like, just do the fans a favor.
Make the filibuster.
Do this for us. Because, that's a ton of movies that they're going to be developing. And the next one they said after episode 9, they're going to take a 3-year break of Star Wars films.
Wow.
After this one. So the next one we'll get is 2022. Will be the next Star Wars film we get. But this is where you guys come in. Let us know what you think down below in that comment section. What do you want? What do you need from a Kevin Feige Star Wars movie?
Or just what Star Wars movies do we need in general?
Yeah, that too. That's
not
kind
specifically
of what
Kevin Feige, but
that's kind of what we branched off
We've
into.
got 2 trilogies. You got Disney Plus. We'll go with that too.
We got Ryan Johnson and the Game of Thrones guys are doing their own.
Ooh, Game of Thrones one will be interesting.
Yeah, because that's the Bettinoff and Weiss. They're the Game of Thrones guys.
Bring in George R.R. Martin just to throw darts at a dartboard.
We keep R.R. Martin as far away from this as possible. I don't need people dying. Nope. I don't need stories.
Nope.
The movie would never get done.
Bring him in.
He'd have to write the books, and the book would never get done.
He doesn't get to write the books. He just gets to pick who dies.
Oh, okay.
We hand him the darts,
and he throws
it at the dartboard.
Okay.
It's how it works, man.
Okay,
I feel like that's when he was writing his books. That's how he did it.
So he's Palpatine. He's Dark Sidious. He picks who dies.
Let your hate
or is he
flow through you.
He's Lord Plagueis. That's who he is.
Let the hate flow through you.
Is it Plagueis the Wise?
Do it.
Let us know, obviously.
Bring in George R.R. Martin.
Yeah. Tell us what you guys think down below.